And welcome to another episode of the Tar Heel Insider Podcast, right here on SI. I'm your host, Grant Sashray, of course, the lead beat writer for Tar Heels on SI, joined here with associate beat writer Jeremiah Artacho, bringing you all the latest news in regards to UNC athletics, the beautiful University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. A lot of hills, by the way, and that kind of tires me out, right? I'm used to
Yeah,
walking on. Louisiana is a really flat place,
bro.
and I'm not used to walking on hills. I think I'm getting used to it a little bit more, but I'm still not used to it. But beautiful, beautiful
You'll get used to
campus.
it.
But it's a beautiful, beautiful time of the year. It's not too hot, not too cold. It's just
Weather's
right.
nice outside. Weather's
Oh,
nice.
bro. Oh, yeah. Are you kidding? I thought it was gonna be hot. I mean, look, it might be hot next year, but I mean, right now I'm enjoying it.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
really enjoying it. But that lets you know that football season's around
Yes,
the
that is a good
corner.
indicator. That is a
Yeah.
good
So I
indicator.
mean, so look, good things. We're getting a little bit of fall earlier, right?
Hmm.
Which is pretty good. I'm not a big fan. Oh, I like the heat, sort of, but I prefer the cold. To be honest, I prefer the cold.
Oh,
I
I'm
don't
the
know
other way
why.
around. I like the cold, but I prefer the heat. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, I'm a sweatshirt guy. That's why I like the cold. But
Mm,
anyway, so for today's episode, we are going to talk about the strengths of this
strengths.
team. So me and Jeremiah are going to pick one strength of this team, in our opinion, we're going to discuss this. And there's some strengths on the team that are pretty noticeable. I've talked about on the show before. I've written about it I've written about it on the website before. Same thing with you, Jeremiah. I think you've talked about a few things about what this team can bring to the table for the 2025 season. Uh, this upcoming fall at Kenan Stadium, and the other places they play on the road. But also they don't really leave the state of North Carolina that much, so that makes it a little bit easier for travel. I'm pretty sure our boss is pretty happy that we don't have to travel very far to go to away
Yeah.
games. He gets to save a good bit of money.
Hmm.
But Jeremiah, starting off with you, man. What do you think is the biggest strength for
Hmm.
this season?
I mean, this might be cliche and very common, but this is what I believe. I feel I gotta go with the quarterbacks. I mean, keep Max or
Hmm.
yeah, Gio Lopez, Max Johnson, and hear me out. There's just a lot of unknowns on this team, and at this point in time, until after the first 1 to 3 games have been shown, I feel like the quarterbacks are proven in terms of. I know Gio Lopez didn't play at UNC obviously last season, but playing at South Alabama, the skills that he was able to show, he's able to pass, he was able to run the ball despite being a little undersized compared to other quarterbacks in college football. I definitely feel like he and Max Johnson are just provides great strength on this team. So, and then Max Johnson, whoever Bill Belichick decides to go as the starting QB, Max Johnson, he's played lots of football. I mean, he was going to be the starter for all of last season until his injury, but now is returning to try and fight for that starting one spot. So I feel like whoever it is at the end of the season, I know Gio Lopez may be seen as the QB1 right now. He's the number one guy. Whoever it is, Gio Lopez, Max Johnson, I feel like Bill Belichick can't go wrong with either. And I feel it just starts at that signal caller position.
That's very interesting. When you said quarterback, I thought you were going to go with maybe the defensive back or field or the offensive line. But that's a very, very interesting take. Somebody must have been reading my articles about the quarterback room. I heard that. I'm like, okay, like that's a very interesting take. And somebody must have been reading my articles. I'm not saying I disagree or agree with it. I think that's a great point. I mean, you got two really experienced quarterbacks. I mean, you really do. And Gio Lopez, of course, even though he's started only 1 year, he was highly effective and really effective at that. I mean, he threw for 2,500 yards
It's a
and
lot.
complete 60. Well, it's not a whole lot, but it's a good bit for a guy who is a freshman quarterback. And you start for
Yeah.
the first one, get thrown in the fire pretty early.
Yeah.
Complete
A lot
66% of his
considering
passes. Go
his
ahead.
spot. Oh no, I was just saying it's a lot for considering the position he was in.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
he completed 66% of his passes last season for 2,559 yards with 18 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions. So he took good care of the ball. And
Mhm.
that was in 11 games, by the way. So he didn't really play a complete season. He missed 2 games. So he could have possibly, closed in on the 3,000-yard mark, to be honest with you. And they also rushed for 463 yards and also scored 7 touchdowns on the ground. He averaged 274.7 yards of total offense per game, which actually ranked 22nd nationally. And of course, he also was a highly effective deep passer, 91.0 deep passing grade. That's passes for over 20 plus yards or more. Not, he completed a pass for 20 yards or more. No. He's throwing the ball 20 yards down the field or more. So he's a very effective quarterback. And he was also really good when he faced pressure, highly accurate when he faced pressure. But also Max Johnson, and I wrote an article about this today, and I think maybe Jeremiah must have read it because apparently he's saying the quarterback is the position that is the biggest strength on this team. And it's saying it sounds cliche, but it's not a crazy idea because Max Johnson, I wrote about in my article earlier today. I explained why he might be the best backup quarterback in the country. All right, and if you look at his 5 seasons of college football, right, he completed over 60% of his passes for 5,923 yards, 47 touchdowns, and just 13 interceptions. But keep this in mind.
Mhm.
That's all of his stats combined, including the games he didn't start. Right? If you look at the games where he started, he only had 22 career starts. By the way, so he hasn't even played 2 full seasons as a starting quarterback. And in those 22 starts, he averaged 240 passing yards per game, which 5,278 to be exact. And he also had a 43 touchdown to 13 interception ratio. That means he threw 3.3 touchdowns for every interception. So he took good care of the ball. He's a very experienced quarterback. He's been thrown in the fire before. Remember, he also, as a true freshman, led LSU to an upset victory over Florida, and solid bit of it was because of him. I mean, he had a gutsy
Yeah.
performance. I remember that because I was attending LSU at that time, and I mean, he had a gutsy performance and really just had an unlucky career because the last 3 seasons, the season ended prematurely because of injuries.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how else to say it, but like Max Johnson can ball. I mean, he knows what he's doing. I mean, he has a good amount of experience, and I mean, you only wonder if the injury never happened, what kind of season UNC may have had last season. I mean, maybe we're not talking about 6-7 record anymore. Maybe it's a whole lot different. Maybe they end up on a higher end on the positive scale in terms of having more wins than losses, which is not really it doesn't really come often in terms of UNC football in comparison to other sports, to say the least. But yeah, I mean that's what I believe. I mean, we'll see what happens after the first 1 to 3 games to see if that still stands true. I mean, maybe a lot of other spots within the team are going to stand out, and I'm sure that they will. It's just going to be a whole lot easier to judge when the game is underway, and against a whole other team for that matter.
Yeah, definitely. And now it's time for my take on what I think is the biggest strength of this team, and this is excluding coaching. Of course, may want to preface that because I
Mhm.
think we all know about the coaching on the staff. And I mean, the head coach is arguably the greatest football coach in football history, regardless of level. But in terms of the players, I gotta have to go with the defensive backs. I really do,
Mm.
because they're the most veteran group of people on the field. I mean, if you look at the 5 defensive backs on the field, which is Thaddeus Dixon, Marcus Allen, um, Caleb Cost, Gavin Gibson, Will Hardy, 3 of those guys were here last year,
Mhm.
right? I mean, Marcus Allen is a 3-year starter for the Tar Heels. I mean, he's played over 1,800 snaps.
He's a
And
vet.
last year, he had 36 tackle for a loss, 2 interceptions, and 6 pass breakups. And then you look at a guy like Caleb Cost. He also started all 13 games. And he also had the most defensive snaps of any person on the defense last season as a nickel star. And he will be back at that position. 69 tackles, 2.5 sacks, and 2 interceptions, and 6 pass breakups. Does need to become a little bit of a better tackler, but he is a guy who could contribute and be a solid player at that slot position, which has become more important in modern football, just because of the amount of receivers that a lot of offenses like to play. And then Will Hardy, of course, he's not a returning starter, but he has played a lot as a rotational player over the last 3 years. And last season, he had 34 tackles, tackle for a loss, interception, 2 pass breaks, and a forced fumble. And that's a guy who didn't start last year. So imagine if once he starts, how much better his stat lines could be. Because that's a pretty good stat line for a guy who really hasn't played a lot of snaps. And for the guys who transferred in, right? We all know about Thaddeus Dixon. Played under Steve Belichick, right? 2-year starter for Washington. Started in that national championship game for Washington. 2 interceptions, 16 pass breakups, 3 tackles for loss, 69 tackles, a forced fumble over those last 2 seasons. And he also was an all Big Ten honorable mention. So he was a very good player for the Huskies last season. And then of course you have to mention Gavin Gibson, who is a very versatile player. We all know how much Stephen Belichick likes to use versatility, and that's exactly what Gavin Gibson is. He can play both safety and nickel, and which also uses a blitzer a lot for ECU in 13 games and 630 snaps. He had 52 tackles, 7 tackles for a loss, 3 interceptions, one of which was returned for a touchdown, by the way, a forced fumble, and 3 pass breaks. And in those 633 snaps, he played in 5 different positions on the field, right? Most of them were as a slot corner. 370 of those snaps were as slot corner, but then 179 were in the box, 49 were on the line of scrimmage, 17 were at wide corner, so he has played cornerback before too, and also 15 as a free safety. So he's a very versatile player, and you can move him around the field. And also you got Marcus Allen, you got not Marcus Allen, you got Ty Adams in rotation, and there's a lot of guys that they have a lot of depth. I mean, out of all the positions on the field, in my opinion, on the defense, which the linebackers, I think that's a very solid group, and the defensive line does have some depth. Although the interior, I'm kind of worried about but still has depth, especially as on the edge rushers. But the defensive backfield, there's so much depth and so many guys, even if they're not playing, even if they're not starters, that could come in and contribute right away. I mean, there's a lot of depth on the defensive backfield, and I can't wait to see them play, because I know a lot of people have harped on North Carolina's defense. Eternity. Their defenses have been horrible, but given what Stephen Belichick did with that Washington defense last season, one that was one of the worst in the country in 2023, despite going to the national championship. Imagine if that defense that they had last season, which finished 28th and second in pass defense, and put that on the team that went to the national championship game. I think Washington probably could have won, right? I mean, you could make a stock case could have won, and I think this defense will be improved because of how much potential this secondary has.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like I want to hear your take, but do you think it's fair to say that the defense seems to be more of the stronger point rather than the offense at this moment?
So. I think
yes. Is that fair to say?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I think.
And the reason why I say this is because there's how many guys are coming back from the offensive in terms of the offensive production from last year? How many of those guys are coming back?
Yeah, Amari Hampton's not there, so he's in the NFL.
Yeah, Amari Hampton's gone. You lost Byron Nesbitt. You lost John Copenhagen. You lost J.J. Jones. Your leading receiver from last year was Kobe Payshore, who did not have a receiving touchdown last year. You lost a lot of production from last year in terms of yardage, touchdowns, you name it. Max Johnson, remember, only played 1 game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, and he even finished the game. So there's not a whole lot of production coming back from last season.
Yeah, the offense is really up in the air. I mean, the offense goes way beyond the quarterback situation. So the defense definitely stands out. And Grant, who do you think, if you were to choose, do you have a way too early prediction as who do you think the most effective DB will be?
I don't. I think all of them would be effective. And I actually bring about a good bit. I've also said breakout players. So for offensive defense, so make sure to go check that out. So you can probably see. I don't really like to pick a select player. I like to pick a few select players. because I think everyone has a chance to stand up. I think if there's anybody
Yeah.
who's going to break out, I mean, Thad Dixon, if I had to make pick two,
Yeah.
who really haven't, because I think even Thad Dixon's proven. So I think Will Hardy, if
Will Hardy.
anything, will probably be the breakout player because he hasn't been a starter, even though he's played a lot and played well, even though not playing a whole lot of snaps. But I mean, they're all in my articles. I can't really pull them up right now. Like, oh, this guy's a breakout star because I've written so much and I got so much information in my mind that I'm gonna forget somebody probably. But anyway, yeah, that's gonna wrap up today's episode for the Tar Heel Insider Podcast. I'm your host, Grant Sastry, joined here by Jeremiah Artacho. Make sure to follow Tar Heels on SI on Twitter, and also make sure to go like and follow our Facebook page, Tar Heels on SI. Also, make sure to check out the website. It's free, no paywall, no subscriptions, no bull.
Completely free.
That's the way we roll over there. So make sure to go check it out. Check out our website because there's a lot of great content as fall camp is underway. We're about to go into full pads, and then also the season starts up 3 weeks. And on top of that, you're still gonna have a whole lot of basketball content coming through as well. So make sure to go check that out. You guys have a good one, and we'll see y'all later.
See ya.